Welcome to this week's episode of Content Classroom. And this week I want to cover the topic of evergreen content. So most people don't make enough use of evergreen content, or they misuse it in a way that just annoys people. First up, what do we mean by evergreen? It's the content that you create that never dulls in its value. So it's always valuable to your audience, and you can put it out multiple times over a year or so, and it's always going to go down well. It's always relevant. It's not time sensitive. It's something that's really useful. Now, there are lots of different types of evergreen content. So some of it could be you giving away free tools or advice or frameworks that you use that your ideal clients could be using to get themselves a foot up on what they're trying to do. Or it could just be something along the lines of a bit of information about you, who you are, what your background is, what your business is about, what you offer, what your products and services are, and how you work with people. There's all sorts of different types of evergreen content. The way I would describe to people to get started with evergreen content is that you need to build up a bank of the content first before you press go on putting that out regularly. And the best way to do that is to just trial and error, put it out yourself manually, see how it goes down. Ask yourself, even if it doesn't go down particularly well, if the vanity metrics aren't high, don't worry about it too much. If you're confident that it helps guide your ideal audience into being a customer for you at some point in their journey, it's worth having it out there fairly regularly. What a lot of people fail to do is talk about themselves, their product or their services on a regular basis because they're too scared of being salesy. On the other side, you've got people who hammer people with that message day in and day out and who are too salesy. So my recommendation is your evergreen content, you probably want to set aside 1 or 2 days a week to put out different types of evergreen content. So for me, I will put out information about our business, promotional information, as I call it, once a week. And the stuff about me and about who I am, the educational content goes out once a week. So I have 2 days where we recycle fairly good pieces of content, stuff that I've spent time creating that I'm confident adds value to a certain person, depending on where they are in our sales funnel or where they are in our engagement funnel. And that way I can be sure that we're not repeating too often. We've got probably 30 or 40 of each type of content. So you'll only see it once in a blue moon, right? You might see it 2, 3, 4 times in a year. That's it. But once that's created, that's golden, right? And then all you've got to do, the other caveat with evergreen content is regularly review it. So maybe every 2, 3 months, just check it over, make sure that the call to action is still what you want to be achieving, because your call to action might change. You might want to now direct people to your newsletter or your YouTube channel or your email that might have changed, etc. The other thing is to just make sure that your prices, if you mention any pricing information, that they're still relevant. How you talk about the business might have changed, so make sure you update the language of how you talk. And just consider replacing and retiring some of that content now and again when it goes out a couple of times. Actually, maybe now we want to do a variation of that. And it's a good way to test how that comes down the line. But certainly make sure that you consider evergreen content. And to be fair, to do that also, you need a tool. It's usually a scheduling platform. For me, that's SocialBee. Every time that's SocialBee, the link will be in the comments below. It's very easy to create actually a couple of categories that you can select at random on any one day. So you'd have maybe 2 or 3 evergreen categories marked as potential categories that you could be posting from, and it'll just go to one of the 3 and pick one. So you can maybe do 20 or 30 pieces of content between those 3 category types, which makes it easy for you to manage. You know what should be in each of those category types, and it'll just pick one each week and post one out. So you're not boring people with too much of the same information. Hope that's useful. Definitely something that you should be using. When people talk about posting 5, 6, 7 days a week, I do. I post 7 days a week. But evergreen content is a big part of my strategy. You're the only person that gets bored of your content. And if it was valuable the first time, it should be valuable the second time, the third time, and the fourth time. Let me know how you get on. See you in the feed.